So how have the kings of relationship marketing, Wunderman, how have they adapted to digital over, say, the last 10 years?
So the question is, how has Wunderman,
Yes.
whose heritage is in direct relationship marketing, adapted to digital? Fact is that it's our market. We evolved into digital the same way we evolved into every other channel that exists. What we do starts with data. So if anything, we've been way ahead of the curve. I think we've been years ahead of everybody else in the market. I found it interesting. The New York Times had a piece on Sunday or on Saturday about how data is playing such a more and increasingly important role on the internet. We just laugh. Data is core to all of our business. If you don't have data, if you don't have a customer, then we have no business. So whereas advertising starts with a unique sales proposition around a product, we start with data about a customer. So it's our sweet spot. It's where we are. It's what we're about. And you can't have an internet without data. So
let's go to the second question that maybe you guys chuckle at as well, which is this pervasive sort of thought that now you have to have a dialogue with your customer versus just communicating to your customer. Probably going to laugh and say, you've been doing that for 40 years too. But it's
so, again, the notion of having a dialogue, our whole business is built around dialogue. So 50 years ago, Lester Wunderman figured out that marketing really was about a dialogue. Now, the truth of the matter is, to be fair, people talk about direct marketing. My challenge always is, have you ever heard anybody admit to doing indirect marketing? Probably not. Except, actually, I take it back. You probably do hear, but that's usually people who are trying to justify really bad campaigns. So they say, yeah, well, it builds over time. It's kind of indirect. So we all know it's a lot of bullshit. I think that the promise of the internet is in fact dialogue. And if you think about how the internet started as a dialogue medium, right? So it was for scientists, and it was created for scientists to have dialogue. When it went commercial, it lost that aspect in the beginning. So I think that's kind of interesting, actually, when you think about it. So the scientists created it to have dialogue, and then they went back. And then what happened was, because of Yahoo and Ask and all these other people, the so-called portals of the early days, the web became a very linear experience. And so everything was about, how many pages can I drive you through to find something? So Yahoo were geniuses at this, and we're able to literally drive you through 200 pages to get to the Yankee score, and they charge somebody for every click that you made along the way, even though all you were doing was going, I'm sure you all remember those days, right? So that linear relationship was terrible. And in fact, I would argue very strongly that one of the reasons that the advertising model is falling apart today is because it was based on that promise, and the analysts still haven't caught up with this. They haven't figured it out. So all of the numbers that were originally created were on this notion that it took you forever to click through to your answer, the information you're looking for. Ergo, there was a lot of money to be made. So along comes search, and search changes it all, because now I don't need this linear thing. I just sort of go synapse to synapse. I look for something, I go right there. So think about the money that I just cut out of the system. It's huge. And so, which kind of changed everything. And so that changed everything. So now it really did become more of a dialogue, because I searched for something, I asked the question, somebody had to give me an answer. That's the beginning of a dialogue. So we went out of this linear thing right into a dialogue. And I think that's really where it is today. I think the second piece of that is that Amazon, or the third piece, Amazon actually played a hugely important role here, because people had this notion of sticky, meaning how long can I keep you in the loop? How far can I drive you down? And again, monetizing all these pieces. And along came Amazon and said, wait a second, one click shopping, that's all I need. Like, I don't care if you're there 3 seconds or 3 hours. If you don't buy, you're worthless to me. And even if you click through 100 pages, all that advertising is not worth as much as if you make a purchase. So they went to one click. And again, purchase is dialogue. So we went right back to it. So we went from dialogue to very linear, back to dialogue. And I think we're really just getting our feet wet now again in this whole notion of how do I make it a great and efficient and relevant dialogue medium.
As you work with companies in every bucket, really, how do you sort of coach them on where to use digital or how to use digital?
So, how do you use digital, right? Whether you're a brand promise or a brand religion. I think the use of digital. First of all, digital is ubiquitous, right? So you have to be. It's another channel, and it's a ubiquitous channel. And today everything is digital, right? Even what we print comes from digital input. So there's nothing in the world. Television is going to become in the United States in 2 days, I think, in July, June, whatever it is, becomes all digital. Everything is digital. So first of all, let's get over that piece of it. I think the real question is what is relevant to the consumer. It gets back to what we were talking about before. It's about dialogue. It's about data. There was a great piece this morning in the New York Times about Kathy Black in Hearst Publications. Great piece. So Hearst is not posting important content from their magazines on the web. Full stop. They won't put it there. You want to buy the content? Buy the magazine. And guess what? Circulation is up in their magazines. And where they're down in ad pages, they're down way less than the rest of the industry, and they're doing really well. Interestingly enough, they're selling today some 35% of all the subscriptions are being sold online because people go to their website for very good reasons to see extra stuff that's not in the published book and get so turned on and say, "Wow, I want more." Well, the only way you can get more is if you buy the. To me, that's brilliant. So I think this notion of that everything is online is just a canard being pushed by the analysts. So I think that the answer is you use digital in the same way you use any other channel. You have to find out about the customer you're dealing with. You have to find out about the people. You have to have a dialogue. You have to understand what they do, when they do it, where they do it, and what makes their lives easier. So if it's online, that's what you do. If it's mobile or phone, as we now call it, we all know, right? Windows Phone. It's now called Windows Mobile, which I think is really brilliant because it is about the phone. It's not about mobile. I think mobile is completely everything's mobile. But so I think we're moving in the right direction. That to me was a big move, by the way, because I think that was the understanding that you can't just bucket stuff the way analysts do. You got to think about your audience. The audience thinks about that thing as a phone. Call it a phone.
Hey David, you're you're the direct judge, right?
President of the direct jury.
So you're president of the direct jury this year in Cannes. Talk a little bit about what you're seeing from submissions there, since obviously direct has changed as a category.
Oh my God, has it ever? So, at Cannes, where this year I'm the president of the direct jury, there's definitely an increase just in the categories of digital. So, in fact, it's very hard, from my perspective, anything that's digital should actually be in the direct category. Maybe vice versa. It's sort of hard to tell. So more and more of the work is purely digital, and almost all the printed work has a digital component to it. In fact, I doubt that there's any digital work that doesn't have or any printed work, rather, that doesn't have a digital component. So even stuff that we mail has something that we send people to online. Now, very often it does pay to mail, right? It's just think about it yourselves. I'm sure, we all throw out most of the unsolicited stuff, but every once in a while we get the package, something cool, an envelope, comes from some source, and we know it's going to be interesting, and we know it's going to be cool, and we know it's going to be different, and maybe it's the way it's packaged, or maybe it's the message on the outside, maybe it's the size, or maybe it's a box, or maybe you just know it's coming. That's great, and you're going to open that, and the combination of the written and then going to the web is just huge. And so I think we're going to see a lot more of that. So we're pretty excited about looking at the digital categories, and hopefully as we get to Cannes and through Cannes, you'll hear a lot about that, because I plan to flog that notion quite a bit.